As you advance, you will find yourself capable of a great many feats. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire, bringing you another episode of the first edition Pathfinder switch hitter build for the Ranger. And the switch hitter build was originally conceived of by Treantmonk. For this, so we are looking to see where we can kind of try to improve things a little bit. Not because Treantmonk didn't make anything good, he made an incredible build with the Ranger. It's just that at the time that it came out, there weren't all these supplements that had come out, so we have new things to play around with, and today we will be covering the Feats. But before we get into all of that, if you're new here to the channel, then go on down there, hit that subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or, if you dashingly awesome folks have already gone and listed yourself on such a legendary roster, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide to help spread the word about the channel. But now, let's go ahead and start talking about these feats. So, your first level pick is going to be Quick Draw. This is the linchpin of the entire build. This will allow you to freely, as a free action, swap from your ranged weapons to your melee. So essentially, you will just pick off your opponents or start damaging them at a range, drop your bow once they are close enough for you to engage in melee, and draw your melee weapon as a free action. Now, I've noted on here that I've picked this out as the human bonus feat. If you're going with the alchemically enhanced human or picking out a different race for your ranger, then this is just going to be your regular first level pick, and all your other feats will be pushed up one spot. The next option that I have listed here is Power Attack. Now, Power Attack will grant you a -1 to your attack bonus, but a +2 to your damage, or +3 if you're two-handing your melee weapon, and this increases every 4 points of attack bonus that you have. So at level 4, you will gain a -2 to attack and +4 to damage, and again that's a +6 if you are two-handing your weapon. So overall, an incredible trade-off there. For your second level feat, this is actually from your combat style class feature, and we are going with archery. And this will be Rapid Shot. You will make an extra ranged attack, however all attacks take a -2 penalty. At level 2, this isn't a huge issue for us, even though we do have only a good dexterity bonus. At level 2, you should still be reliably hitting opponents, and this will allow you to get more arrows downrange to deal damage to your enemies. Then for third level, we are going to pick up Cleave. Cleave is for when you have to move but still want a chance at hitting two adjacent targets. So normally if you're already standing up close with someone and you have a full attack action and you have multiple attacks, then taking the multiple attacks will probably be better for you overall. But in those instances where, say, you're moving, 15, 20, 30 feet using up a move action, you will only have a single attack that you can use with your attack action. And Cleave will allow you to take 2 attacks. As if the targets are adjacent, that is. So if you have 2 targets in front of you standing side by side, you hit the first one, Cleave will allow you to make an attack at your full attack bonus against the adjacent target, and you will have good odds to hit. So again, Cleave will be an excellent option for you. Then for 5th level, we are picking out Deadly Aim, and this essentially works like Power Attack, but for your ranged weapons. You get a -1 to attack, +2 to your damage, and this also increases for every 4 points of attack bonus that you have, going up to a -2 attack and +4 to damage. So this will make your ranged attacks that much deadlier, and bear in mind that you could also have a composite bow of strength that is adding in your strength modifier to your ranged attack damage. So you will start seeing some significant boosts in your damage potential as a ranged attacker, progressing right along pretty nicely with your abilities as a melee fighter as well. Then for your 6th level combat style feat selection, you are going to pick up Many Shot. Your combat style lets you bypass prerequisites, such as the dexterity score of 17 this feat normally requires. And this feat will allow you to fire 2 arrows with 1 attack. So, again, this is another increase to the amount of arrows that you're putting down range and therefore the damage overall that you are doing. This is absolutely awesome for you. Then for 7th level, we are going to pick up Vital Strike. You will roll your damage dice twice when you make an attack and it hits, and you add the total before adding in other damage, such as strength bonus, enhancement bonus, all of these other things. So this is just another way for you to really boost the amount of damage that you're able to do on a single attack. But this is also what you're going to use when you're only able to make a single attack. Then for 9th level, we are going to pick up Improved Critical. You select a weapon and double its critical range. So, if you're using a greatsword, which is normally going to crit on a roll of 19 to 20, it will now expand to 18 to 20. If you're using a falchion, let's say, you're already at an 18 to 20, this will drop it down to 15 to 20, which will really open up the amount of critical hits you're getting and really increase the amount of damage that you're doing. And this also feeds into some other feats we will be selecting down the line. The next feat you pick up at 10th level is again from a combat style, and you will be taking Improved Precise Shot. This allows you to ignore the armor class bonus given by anything less than total cover, and you will ignore the miss chance for anything other than total concealment. So all the other previous feats upped the amount of arrows you're putting down range and thus increase the damage. This improves your accuracy by negating a significant amount of miss chance and armor class bonuses. So unless somebody's completely hidden behind a wall from you, they are not going to escape from your arrows quite so readily. And coming up after that, at 11th level, we are picking up Critical Focus, which is an okay feat in and of itself, especially for this particular build. This gives you a +4 circumstance bonus to confirming critical hits. We are largely taking this to unlock the feat chain, so maybe this could be rated a little bit higher, but overall this is just a means to an end. The +4 circumstance bonus to confirming critical hits isn't bad though. And then for 13th level, you're going to take Heavy Armor Proficiency, because at this level, you should be able to afford some pretty nifty Enchanted Mithril Full Plate. Now, Mithril Full Plate is still heavy armor, so you need the proficiency in order to wear it effectively. But it's a heavy armor that you get to treat like medium armor, meaning it doesn't interfere with your class abilities. So overall, this is absolutely ideal for you, particularly as a melee fighter. This is also important because you need something that technically counts as medium armor because you're a ranger and several of your class abilities want you to be in medium armor to function, but you still want that added level of protection. So pick up Heavy Armor Proficiency. Then for 14th level for your combat style feat, you're going to pick Clustered Shots. When you're shooting a single target, you total all damage from your hits before taking off any damage reduction. So normally, for every hit, you subtract damage reduction from each damage total. But because you get to total everything all at once and take off damage reduction only once, this will again boost how much damage you're doing. So if you're targeting, say, an adamantine golem or any other creature that might have damage reduction, this will help to make sure your damage gets through and actually starts taking that terrifying monster down. Then for 15th level, you're gonna grab Blinding Critical. On a critical hit, the target has to make a DC 10 plus your attack bonus fortitude save or be permanently blinded. A successful save makes this 1d4 rounds of dazzled instead. But remember how I mentioned falchions earlier and how the critical range goes to 15 to 20. That's essentially 1 out of every 4 hits is statistically going to be a critical hit. So every time you are making a critical hit, you are potentially blinding your opponent. If you're not blinding them, then you're stacking on rounds of them being dazzled, which is still a solid debuff to have, but blinding a target is absolutely a devastating debuff for an enemy to have. if they're vulnerable to that. But overall, most of the opponents you're fighting are probably going to be vulnerable to this. Absolutely a must-have. Put this in your repertoire. Then for 17th level, we are going to grab Boon Companion. This will make your animal companion function at your level instead of your level -3. Now, this is fine to pick up here because overall, your animal companion is still going to be pretty reliably survivable. And even up to this point, it's still functioning as if you were a level 14 druid, which isn't bad at all. This is still essentially like having an extra character in the party. But this makes it even closer, closes that gap even more, and makes your animal companion that much more effective on the battlefield. Then for your 18th level combat style, this just kind of ends up being a player's choice at this point because, well, we're locked in with archery, so everything that's left really kind of depends on the situations you find yourself in or whatever you prefer picking up. We have already picked up the most mechanically effective options at this point, however, so really it's not going to make too huge of a difference what you grab, but it is ultimately up to you. Perhaps your DM will let you substitute something in. If they do, then grab that. Certainly, I would consider doing that for my players, as long as it were something in the vein of being archery. And then your 19th level feat, the last one you are going to grab, is Improved Vital Strike. This works as Vital Strike, but you roll your weapon damage 3 times before adding in any other modifiers. And remember, the extra dice are not multiplied on a critical hit. Now, again, this 19th level feat is just something that I threw in here that fits well enough with this build. However, almost anything else could probably go here. If you wanted to throw in Improved Bull Rush, Sunder, Disarm, any of these other feats, these will be absolutely fine for you. At this point, it's just more of a, what do you feel like grabbing that either complements the character, works mechanically well, or just fits your build overall. So, the choice is ultimately up to you. But what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like this list? Do you like this loadout? What might you change or swap out? And just bear in mind that regardless of whatever you do or you might think, this is just a guide. Take this with a grain of salt and build the character that you want to build that you're going to have fun with. Now, remember to go on down there and hit those like or dislike buttons, and when you go into the comments, we'll engage in discussion and have ourselves a pretty good time here. And remember, if you're new here to the channel, then go on down to hit that subscribe button and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.